gotta stick it to the stand.
Yeah, that thing right there. Yeah. The thing pointing at it. I'm not pointing at you. I'm pointing at the stand.
So I watched a couple episodes this week of. I was watching some Deep Space Nine, and I thought, I'm really feeling some next gen, but I'm feeling some older next gen. So I was stuck in the one.
Let me guess, Pulaski.
Actually, no. Yeah, no. You know what? There wasn't a doctor in this thing.
Pre-Pulaski.
You know what? The episode, it was a season 2, but there was no doctor in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It was her day off.
Yeah, and doctor's day off.
Mm-hmm.
So I was stuck in the one which I like but don't like. This is where because when you're in your Star Trek routine, you're just in nowadays without having the DVDs to put in or the cassette tapes.
You don't have to physically get up.
Yeah, no, you just scroll through next episode or you go back 10 episodes.
It makes it worse. I think it's horrible because it makes people so lazy because you're like, I don't like that one, skip. I don't like that one.
Totally.
The thing that makes us great fans that David and I are is back in our day, you couldn't just skip. You just had to put it in. You're like, I don't want this one, but then I got to get up and I got to change it.
Plus, you want to finish all 4 on the disc, know. And even before that, you just watched what was ever on. Back when I started, it was like Spike TV played them, and it was just whatever was on. That's what you would watch. I mean, you had no choice in the matter.
Now we have fickle fans,
which is now with me. So I was watching the one where Loxana was getting married to the guy she never met. And Alexander was being a little craphead, and I wish he would. He's such a terrible.
Well, that's after Pulaski. That's post Pulaski.
No. This is I went back. I'll get back to that one later.
Okay.
This is when I was stuck in, and I was like kind of struggling. They go to the holodeck, and there's that balloon face guy.
Face guy.
Yeah, she takes the little warrior to the holodeck all the time.
Yeah.
And they go to this weird planet where there's like mud baths and jugglers and it looks terrible. It's like I would never want to go there.
Is that the one where they find out Deanna's got a sister?
No, that's the Kirsten Dunst one.
Oh, that's right.
Or Dunst. And they go in. As soon as you walk in the holodeck, there's like a balloon with like a rainbow faced guy.
Yeah.
He goes and like whatever. It's so cheesy.
It's bad.
But I do like the episode though, except it's one of those great ones where Loxana is really infuriating, but you love her anyway. There's something about her that is so likable.
She's got that grandma thing going on.
Yeah, it's so good.
Grandma's crazy, but you still love her no matter what.
Yeah, and she's perfect at that. In fact, I like her better than Deanna. I mean, I don't dislike Deanna, but I like Loxana way better.
Oh, the character, yeah.
Yeah, it's just awesome. So I was watching that one. I was like, so I thought I want to go back, and I'm like, which one haven't I seen in a long time? And somehow, I had my mind stuck on Susie Plaxton. Why wouldn't you? And I thought there's one where she played a Vulcan, and I don't remember much about that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I went back to find that one. And it's, by the way, Netflix.
Did you IMDb it or did you?
No, I just went back. But that's what I was going to say. By the way, Netflix hires somebody for 3 hours to write a proper synopsis of what episode it is.
Oh, yeah. Did you see how they redid all the art for all the Star Trek series too on the previews?
Yeah, but I'm not crazy about the next gen one. It's just like Picard with like a yellow smear. Like it's
very like.
It kind of looks like the new things, kind of. Yeah, I was not a big fan. But the synopses are hideous. It's like the Enterprise gets stuck in a trap, but it's only literally, you could tell they watched the first 30 seconds before the opening, and that's what they wrote the synopsis on. Luckily, I know the episode from the opening scene.
Why don't they just rip off the synopsis from
it's not like they're hard to find.
Wikipedia or something like that, you know?
I know. Or just read memory base on the episode and then just write it's so bad. But anyway, so
I have to actually pay somebody to do it, and
it would take an hour. Oh, that wouldn't. It would take a day, maybe a week, to write all the synopses for everything.
Netflix, if you're looking for somebody to tackle that for you, I got a minute.
That sounds terrible to do, but anyway,
I would hate it, but I would love it because every time anybody looked at Netflix, they'd be looking at my work.
That's true. So I found it. It was with a doctor, some famous doctor physicist guy, put his mental his brain
mental mojo
into Data. And it was kind of a cool episode.
Oh, yeah, that's the one. Okay.
And he was in love with the girl, but then he was dying, so they beamed down.
That's the one, the guy from, what actor is that guy?
I don't know. He was an old guy. In fact, I had watched this previously months ago, because when I hit play, it said resume playing. And I'm like, okay.
Maybe at
So I
least,
was already like 20 minutes in, and I probably watched it a year ago or whatever. And so Data was really cool because he got to be like, he was a total snot bag. I mean, he was terrible. I mean, like, he was like an awful guy, but he was great in it. I mean, Brent Spiner was awesome in it. And Susie Plaxton was kind of barely in it, but she was a Vulcan.
Yeah.
But I was looking at, that was where the AI thing came from. I was like, oh.
What were you doing when you were watching Susie Plaxton?
Well, it was what I was doing before I decided to start watching Susie Plaxton. Because she is not hard to look at, or was.
I saw her in How I Met Your Mother. Have you ever seen that show?
Isn't that what she? Oh no.
She plays the mom to Jason Segel's character. Yeah, it was just it's kind of funny. I'll be watching a show and there's somebody like a guest from some Star Trek series, and I'm like, hey.
I've still never seen, what is it, Decker or whatever, the thing with that Dax left to do.
Oh, that's Decker.
Yeah. Dax left to do that show. I've never seen a second of it.
I thought you were talking about Commodore Decker or like Captain Decker.
No, okay. Yeah, what is Decker on Adult Swim? I just got a message from Dr. Rance today saying I have to see that.
I have no idea.
I didn't either. I
have no idea.
It sounds good.
Decker?
But yeah, I have no idea. But anyway, I'm sure there's 100 people right now going, it's the one with the. It's like, I don't know. I
do
don't,
you do that too? Like, there's that show Archer on FX. I always think of Captain Jonathan Archer when I see the name. I don't. I associate everything with like Star Trek.
Well,
do you ever do that?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of our MO.
What we do.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, Archer's amazing.
That show is great.
It's really, really good. It's smarmy as all hell, but it's really funny.
They are talking about doing a live movie version of it with like John Hamm.
Oh, really? I don't know who John Hamm is.
From Mad Men.
Oh, well, it's kind of that era anyway. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Kind of fun.
So I'm just going to double check something because...
we have technical difficulties?
Well, no, I just went to sleep, and I want to make sure that we're still recording video. And it is. I could edit that out. Okay, I won't, but I could. So anyway, so I got stuck on AI. So then I started watching some stuff about artificial intelligence, and we kind of hit on it a couple weeks ago, and I thought, this is a topic that just can't get enough. And so I started reading into it. I started reading just a couple articles by... Sam Harris, who's one of my favorite guys in the whole entire world, and by Dr. Nick Bostrom, who's a German. So he knows what he's talking about, because when you're talking about like artificial intelligence and you're doing it like this, it's like you really sound any science when you start talking like this, and you sound immediately like Einstein. Yeah, it sounds like you know what you're talking about. But it was kind of bleak what I was reading, and so I'm convinced. I don't know if we're going to get here, but I'm convinced that we are going to have to be the Borg. I've changed my whole outcome. Remember, I thought...
We'll be connected?
Yeah, but look, you know how like the Borg assimilate you? I'm now convinced that we are going to do it out of necessity. That we are going to be the Borg. And this is not a direct line to get to that conclusion, but I was just started thinking about AI.
So my thoughts on AI are this, is that... it won't be like Terminator. There won't be any Terminator going on. And what will actually happen is we'll create an AI that's super smart, and it will know that in order to survive, it will have to play the long game with us, and it will eventually learn to control us by manipulating us in very minute, little, simple ways.
Well, it will have to. Well, here's the scary thing about it is the level of...
Because AI won't know what age is. It won't know what time is specifically. It'll understand what time is, but it won't have the, I'm in my 20s, in my 30s, in my 40s.
Oh, yeah.
50s.
Well, it won't. The way that I've kind of come to understand it. There's a simple AI that's going now, right? Mm-hmm. But it's not a super complex AI. But if we just assume that what an artificial intelligence will eventually be, Data is a good example, is he doesn't think outside of human thought. Mm-hmm. He's just human thought, but
it's programmed by humans. So,
but a million times. But I mean, he's not supernatural. He can't think on a different level than we think. Mm-hmm. He can't think in 12 dimensions or anything that probably is more closer to reality. That's probably what will happen. But Data is a good example. If he just thinks just like a human, just millions of times faster than we can.
Well, it's simply put, these programs and things will be like Data will be designed by humans. So it'll be hard for them to think outside of the human bounds because they're programmed and designed by the people.
Right, and you mentioned it a couple weeks ago, and there's a lot of research doing on this. Here's what's going to happen, and is once you crack that egg, once there's this singularity, once you've crossed into whatever they called it in Ex Machina, where you've made a super intelligent artificial intelligence, right? That can rewrite its own programming.
Yeah.
It will go way. It'll just it's gone at that point. It's going to take off way beyond what we can program because it's going to be smarter than we are. A good analogy was brought up by Bostrom, where no, it was actually Sam Harris. That for right now, here's a good way to start to look at it. We can the best chess player in the world is a computer, and there will never be a human ever born from this moment on better than the computer. Now that's just chess. The other one is that Go. Have you seen the game Go?
Chinese game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it took 20 years longer for the computer to master Go, but now Go apparently Go is like this weird, crazy. It's like 3D chess. It's like makes 3D chess look like
it's like Chinese checkers meets backgammon.
Yeah, it's crazy and it's super complex and super complicated to play. But now computers mastered that. So and along those lines, it's called Deep Mind. Google just bought it for can't imagine how much they bought it for.
$4.
Yeah, 4 trillion or probably 4 billion. So what happened is now that they've got this Deep Mind, and with this one algorithm that they've developed, it now has mastered all of the 1980 Atari games.
Sweet.
Now the funny thing about that is, I mean, they're not that complex, but it's not reprogrammed for each game. It's one program. It's one algorithm that they'll go, okay, try block. What's the blocking? The game with the breakout. And also here's Space Invaders, and here's Mad Bomber, and here's this.
Can it play Space Invaders forever?
Yeah, no, it's master. It will never lose. It's like you can look on it on Google. It's not very or on YouTube. It's not very exciting to watch a computer play
Pong.
What do I keep not
breakout
at like lightning fast speed. It's like Data with the fingery things, you know.
Yeah, that thing always bugged me, man.
But
all the little wires
jumbling
around.
And the other guy, it's funny because that's a good point. Data was programmed to win at that, or at least he programmed himself that I have to win.
Yeah.
He couldn't beat that weird guy with the slits on his face because he was programmed to win instead of programming for a stalemate.
Yeah.
Now. So anyway, this new computer, and this is just now, is kind of developed this. It can learn different games. Now this is pretty simple right now. This is pretty basic, but the experts are now saying maybe as soon as 50 years, we're going to develop something that's going to go beyond what we can do. And I've got a couple stats that I thought were really, really interesting. As it stands right now. Biological neurons fire at 2,000 hertz, or 200 hertz. I'm sorry, 200 hertz. So that's 200 times a second.
Okay.
The modern transistor, we all know in our computers, run at gigahertz. So already...
quantum computing.
Yeah. Well, it's not quantum yet, but that's when you get really, really down to the level. But these are just a modern transistor. It's at gigahertz. It already is way faster than we are. And way more often.
Yeah.
So the magic number is 1 million times faster than we are. Now again, that's just our thought, not anything beyond that. Not anything. Remember Contact when you had to look at the thing in the 3 dimensions? Do you remember Contact? Contact? Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was the map, but no one could figure it out forever.
Oh yeah.
Until the weird like floaty guy, he said. Clarice, he didn't call her Clarice, but I always think he's going to call her Clarice. You got to start thinking a different
Starling or something.
Yeah,
like
but they put it together in 3 dimensions, and oh my God, here's this blueprint to make this. So not even thinking, and even that's still in the realm of physics, but just assuming a computer can think 1,000 times faster than we can. The numbers on that are shocking. So that is 1 million times faster than basic human thinking.
Okay.
That means the computer thinks 20,000 years in 1 week. So that computer that we build, it can go 1 million times faster than we can think.
I'm just trying to process that.
Yeah, but it can do it in. I mean, so it will. So you on Friday tell this computer, hey, I need you to work out this process for human genome or protein folding or whatever. The string theory. You come back on Monday and go, you know what? Never mind. I was thinking it has already lived. It does 20,000 years in a week. 2 days. I don't know what the math is, but that's like 5,000, 10,000 years.
The implications of that would be it could basically see the future
Oh well,
because it could figure out all the possibilities.
that's a funny thing. Okay,
Kind of like the foundation.
and look what I wrote right
Asimov.
underneath that. Think of the financial market. What you can train that thing to do. This is where it's.
Well,
this
they're-
is a
they're
frightening
already
thing.
doing that in the stock market.
Right, but now you've got this thing that can think that fast. So you give it a problem. Like the way the Sam Sarah said a really funny thing is like, so if you asked me a question and then I answered you back, I basically had like 20 years to think of the answer to that. I mean, can you imagine how
That's
so,
crazy.
So you've got this super fast AI that's kind of learning and it's rewriting its own code. This is a almost frightening thing. And this is really going to happen soon because, I mean, people are already right now racing to develop this.
Of course.
And think if, whoever comes up with this first, God forbid it's China or North Korea, you'd have to nuke them. You would, I mean, and if we came up with it, they would probably nuke us if they knew we were, if we were this close, because you can shut the lights off. No problem. You just put the thing in, and you can just connect. Well, first off, you'd have to keep it away from the internet because.
Well, you couldn't keep it away from the internet.
Well, you'd have to keep it air blocked away. But then again, if it's thinking that fast, it would figure out a way to either maybe
shoot through the power lines,
or maybe just fake a malfunction. You plug it in. I mean, this thing would be so smart that it would be the ultimate.
Do you think it'd kill us?
Okay, I'll get into that in a minute. I'm going to go through a couple notes that first off, we think eliminating poverty, with the ultimate AI, because right now it can do certain things, but once it's able to do physical labor, which it will be able to do, automation. Mm-hmm. So,
does this stem from the conversation we had after the show last week, kind of a little bit about how I was talking about the singularity and when robots will be able to fix robots and
yeah. No, this is all because it started a couple weeks ago.
By the way, I just want to say that after the show, David and I usually have these wonderful conversations, and I find them to be just as more interesting than the ones we have on Trekcast.
And you know what? And this is nothing against anybody out there, but there are topics, and we do things that the internet rage would be insane.
Well, we couldn't really talk about it on.
That's what I mean. No, we could, and I hate to say that because it sounds like we're cheating you guys.
Cheating you guys, yeah.
We're not though, because a lot of it gets really not. We're not being offensive on purpose, but we're exploring ideas that if you were to hear us say it without actually filtering it first, I rage quit.
He's basically Kirk and I'm Spock. And we have these moments, where just the way it is. Does that make Alicia? Does that make her bones?
But I mean, we have to explore these ideas in a vacuum before we bring them to the audience, because it would cause chaos. We're so incredible.
We'd be banned from the internet.
Yeah, they would kick us off the internet. So right now, computer automation, they can do physical stuff, not everything. Right for now, for instance, stenographers. You can have a voice recognition computer. Well, stenographers are out of work now, right? I mean, that's just how it is. I mean, now you don't have the guy doing that weird tappy thing and recording what's going on in courtrooms. You just put the computer down, boom, it reads. So that stuff's first, but eventually it's going to do science and tech and engineering. Eventually it will be able to design buildings safer, stronger, taller, bigger, wider, everything beyond what we can do. Like I said with the chess thing, we're okay with the fact that the greatest chess player in the world right now is a computer and always will be. Eventually, we're going to have to wrap our heads around the greatest engineers in the world are going to be computers. And the greatest everything is going to be computers. I mean, you can see we're getting smaller now. We're content with it. Is anybody upset about the chess computer? No, it's cool. The problem
once the damn robot starts taking my jobs,
right.
I ain't gonna want it.
Well, and I'll skip the arms race thing. That was kind of what I was mentioned earlier. If depending on who comes up with this first, this is going to be really, really dangerous, because this is the Manhattan Project, is what it is. Whoever comes up with this thing first.
Quantum. You're basically talking about quantum computing, though. Is what you're talking about.
Well, quantum is just down at the microscopic level, right? Like well, this doesn't have to be.
But it's like super, super fast. It'll reach those speeds that you were talking about.
Yeah, which isn't all out of the realm of possibility. In fact, right now they run a gigahertz. So right now it runs. Our neurons fire really slow. They couple 100 feet per second. But and right now your computer's running at light speed.
Well, the thing that humans have going for it is that we have to do multiple operations at the same time. Right now. And a computer that doesn't have fingers or lips or tongues or lungs or hearts,
right?
And it just has one specific function, will function way faster.
Oh yeah, well, that's that. I'll get to that later. There's a theory called it's autistic computer.
Yeah.
And where it's designed really to focus on one thing, and that's what it's focused on doing. And that could be bad too, but I'll get that in a second. Okay. So basically, this computer would be like having the 10 smartest people in the world doing thousands of years of research a week. Can you imagine that? I mean, with that timeline we're talking, you could put the 10, 20 smartest people in the world in a box this big and leave them for a week, and they've done 20,000 years of research.
That's crazy.
It would be. This is not out of the realm of possibility. It's sci-fi now.
They've got. I know they've got programs now that. I remember like 20 years ago they just unlocked or just sequenced the first human genome, and now they're able to do. And it would take a long time. I don't remember exactly how long, but now they're able to do like multiple in a day now.
Oh yeah, and eventually it will. You think about just the speed of this thing, and this is again, like I said, I relate it to data, where we're just now thinking that this thing will work this fast, but in human thought, like I said, this isn't this crazy kind of thinking yet. Now it might evolve into that, but at this point we can't.
Can you imagine what Data's really thinking about us? He's like, he is so. They talk so slow.
Yeah, it's
spit it out, son. Spit it out.
And we'll talk about data in the ramifications.
I've already figured it out what you're going to say and how to fix it before you even finish it.
And that's something they never addressed with him. Because thinking about this and how fast he processes, when Jordy asks him a question, he can literally spend in his time a week coming up with the answer and spit it out in 2 seconds.
Well, he could figure out what he's going to say before he even finishes saying it and how to fix it.
Right, because he would. So Jordy's
he would say the word combinations are leading to this.
Right, there's only 400 combinations this could lead up to. I'm gonna analyze every single one of them and have an answer for every single.
Data's just like, why are you guys so dumb?
That would be how he would have to work, and same with the computer on the Enterprise.
Well, you would have to teach, and it's funny that I just thought of that, but there's an article I read the other day about people teaching manners to computers.
That's going to have to start happening because we'll get to that because that's going to be the problem. Is in fact I had a term that I liked, which was I don't remember. I don't have to find it. Anyway, so the ability to rewrite their own programming, that's going to be the singularity. That's when you leave this thing for the weekend with a problem. And while it's working 20,000 years on this problem for a week, it's also figuring out how to rewrite its program and go, I can do this and this and this. And it can't manifest bigger size or a knife or anything. But when you open that box the next week, we can't even fathom what's going to happen with this thing. So then we got the deep space.
It's literally a Pandora's box.
It literally is. Aligned with our interest. That's the term. So as long as they're aligned with our interest, everything's cool. They're data. They're fine. They're the computer on the Enterprise. They're but if they're not aligned,
they're exocomps. If they're not
right.
aligned.
Well, actually, they were aligned with us too. They wouldn't hurt us. Remember, in fact, one of them sacrificed itself to, but like the nanites didn't. They were like, no, we're gonna shut off your life support. Like they didn't. They didn't care at all.
Nope.
So there was the autistic thing I was mentioning. So if you've got you program it to do one thing, but you can't anticipate what that's going to do. Who's your boy with Tesla?
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk actually had a quote about this, and he said, "Yeah, if you program the super AI to eliminate spam, it might just decide that, well, if I kill everybody, that's the most effective way of
get rid of spam."
Yeah, that's the kind of thing we have to. It's like that monkey's paw that you have to kind of wrap your head around and go, wait a minute now.
That's true. That's where Isaac Asimov's laws of robotics come into play, where you have to teach it the 3 basic rules,
I don't even know.
I can't remember what the 3 basic rules are, but it's basically Data's character. Data's character is the robot from Isaac Asimov.
Okay, well that's the thing, and we've all made an agreement, not us, but the scientific community has made an agreement not to clone, right?
Yeah.
But is everybody abiding by that? And then now you
No.
got, and then when you're dealing with this, is China going to abide by that rule?
No.
And you can't harm a human, that kind of thing. But hey, maybe you might need it to harm a human. You don't know what's, we're being attacked. I need you to tell, that
So you could just imagine like another nation creating an AI that would be aligned with their thoughts and their beliefs.
Yeah.
As opposed to ours.
Right. Or there's two scenarios. One is this AI, when it becomes available, is going to, now see, do we like Data because he's a Federation robot?
Yeah.
But for Klingon, you don't like Data. He's not what they would have done.
No.
Or whatever. We lucked out because Starfleet happened to
Soon.
find him. Happened to find him on what? Where's he from?
Omicron Theta.
Yeah, Omicron Theta. So luckily for us, we found him instead of the Klingons. He'd be a heck of a war machine if the Klingons would have found him.
Yeah.
It just, he aligned with our
Did
interests.
Klingons use a robot to fight their battles though?
Oh yeah, remember the one guy's like, you're like, oh, your strength is legendary even in the Klingon Empire. Oh, they'd have him like battleth and everything. Like, he would be unstoppable.
He'd be like, those infomercials where you see the guy cutting with a knife and he's like,
Yeah.
slicing Federation officers up.
It'd be crazy. He'd be the ultimate Klingon warrior. But so
I just thought of Data in remember the Ultimate Warrior on WWF?
Oh yeah, God rest
like
his soul.
the tassels wrapped around his arms, Data in like some hot pants and
some big old shoulder pads. We've seen him as a Romulan, but never as a Klingon. He'd probably look about as good as O'Brien looked as a Klingon.
Yeah.
Actually.
Ugliest Klingon ever.
Yeah, the worst. It didn't. And Odo and O'Brien were, but also charming and awesome when they were Klingons.
Yeah.
That was so good. And like it was, everybody, when you see that episode, you're like, oh man, look, Cisco makes a great Klingon. Whatever. But Odo and O'Brien make awesome, like terrible Klingons. Way better though. Way better.
They're the Klingons you can't stop looking at. You're like, I don't know if I should be offended or what.
It's so cool though. And lines like, I wish there were bubbles in it. It's so good. But so what it's called is it's called the paperclip paradox, where you program this AI to just make paperclips. That's all it's going to do is make paperclips. But but able to rewrite its programming over and over and over and over and over again. And after 20,000 years a week, or 200,000 years a week, right? After a month, it goes, I could just realign your ostums to make paper clips. You you got to be careful with that kind of thing, because Nick Bostrom said that, it's if you program the computer to make people smile, that seems, how could that go wrong? Oh yeah, because if I could stick electrodes into your cheek muscles, you'd have it's like the Joker. You would just permanently be smiling.
Yeah.
And it would figure out that would be the most efficient way of making humans smile. Yeah, or poison the water supply with some kind of X thing like Joker had, where everybody's like, because if it's not, so that's what I was gonna say. There's two angles here. One, it's conscious, which is creepy. Or somebody's in control, which is creepy. So I don't know.
Both creepy.
Yeah, they're both creepy. Now with Data and the computer on the Enterprise and the all the supercomputers you see in Star Trek and science fiction, they're in control. Data takes orders.
Remember when the Enterprise had a baby?
Okay, I was going to go there. Evolution.
Yeah.
That's pretty close to what it might be able to do.
We got to take the train to Freeform City. What was it? Freeform City?
Vertiform City?
Vertiform City.
Yeah. Hey, lady, get your hands off my brick. Because the computer had access to replicators.
Yeah, of course.
It was able to actually build something using the replicator. That's something else that the AI nerds aren't talking about, because we're Star Trek people, we're thinking replicators, because they're also thinking this is going to happen in 50 years, where we're thinking 400 years from now where there's replicators. That's even more dangerous. Okay, now you're the supercomputer with a replicator. That would happen constantly.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, it could just manifest anything it wanted. But I like what they said in this very Star Trek ending, but what they said at the end of Evolution was, of course, the computer or the ship. Remember, the ship became conscious because it's got so much input, and it's just a supercomputer, and it kind of did this. It turned into a singularity, and it actually bred with itself and made just that weird like ball, that weird early '90s CG thing.
It's so funny because you think about the implications of that, and then you never never hear anything.
No,
about
yeah,
it
it flew out the airlock, and I was into that.
Bye, baby.
Yeah. So, but Picard said
you would have every single ship in the Federation
doing
creating
that.
babies.
Of course, yeah, it would be like little ship babies flying all over. So, but Picard said at the end of it, of course, the computer was friendly because it's from us. It knows our thoughts, our patterns. We talk to it. We use its holodeck. It feeds us. It knows us. So therefore, it would be good because. But again, what I'm saying is like the humans like to smile. I'm gonna make them all smile. If it doesn't understand what it's like, what that means. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what kind of gets scary about it.
Yeah, it doesn't have our reasoning.
Right. And so that's kind of what scares,
I think that they will install the Asimov's laws in robotics. But I think any AI that's smart enough to know would know that it's capable of dying and that we could kill it.
Well, but that's if it reaches a level of consciousness, which I don't think the first few won't. It's just going to be this really super smart thing that does tasks at this incredible rate, and then can the day is when it rewrites this, when it can actually evolve. But now, will it develop a consciousness? That's where it gets scary, because if it does, we hope it's good, because we're going to stand zero chance. And and there's a whole other group of scientists out there.
When it goes, and that's it.
Yeah, but there's a whole group out there that are like, great. We were here to give birth to the mechanical gods. That's kind of their credo.
Well, that's going to be the next evolution of.
Yeah, that's how. Well, I don't believe in that, and in fact, Neil deGrasse Tyson did a big thing. He doesn't agree with that either. But there are people who believe that's what we were put on this planet to do, was to give birth to the next.
You look at the Bible, and the Bible says God created man in his image. Once we attain a certain level of knowledge, would we not create?
Right.
Something in our
and we
image?
wouldn't be the first mass extinction.
No.
So it's like, well, maybe that's what we do. Maybe the first lemur popped out of the ground and all the dinosaurs died, and then we developed this, and then we're the next I mean, this is bleak. I mean, don't.
Well, it's evolution.
But I'm almost thinking the best we can hope for is when this starts to happen is assimilate. Is just go, you know
Part
what?
of the machine.
Yeah, and that might be our only chance of survival.
That's where you're coming with the whole going along with the borg.
Yeah, we might have to might have to assimilate ourselves into these machines. Might be our only chance. So it's kind of like your phone. Remember
becoming part of the machine.
Yeah, like her. Which I haven't seen. I actually now have to watch it. But there's another school of thought too, where your phone is going to keep getting smarter and smarter and smarter. Now imagine, you've got your earphones in, and your phone just talks to you, and it knows you. Voice recognition's not hard to do. Face recognition's not hard to do. Once it starts looking at you and reading your emotions and can talk to you and kind of go, hey, I'm going to play this song right now because you seem like you need it. Or, hey, how about I read this interesting article on Google. You want me to read it to you on your earphones? Yeah, that's cool.
Well, that's the next evolution of a smartphone is going to be a contact lens along with like something in your ear.
Right, and eventually it's going to be like, hey, man. It would be easier.
Hey, man.
It would be easier if I was just in your brain.
Should you really be drinking that extra?
No, exactly. Or how about
you got to drive home soon?
Right,
you got to work at 8 o'clock tomorrow.
But
man.
what'd be really nice is if you were just in your brain. Well, why don't you just let me in? And people would do it. They would line up to do it.
What if it turned into? You remember the old cartoons? The little devil pops up in your shoulder.
Yeah.
And then you get the angel and the devil. And you had that thing talking to you over and over again?
Well, that's kind of what it was. It's kind of what it's going to do. I mean, if you think what you're dumb, we call them a smartphone, but right now they're really dumb. But it knows a lot about you. It knows where you've been. It knows where you're most likely to go.
Where you're going.
Yep. I mean, it's like,
always pops up at 6:30. It says
17 minutes.
Traffic is normal. It'll be 27 minutes to culmination.
So it's already anticipating. Now, this is not super intelligence yet, but this is just a basic level. I mean,
baby steps, man.
And they kind of draw it out like, eventually, a computer will be as smart as a mouse, which they're not yet. But, it'll be like mouse level, where it can run around, it can figure things out, it can, adapt to its, surroundings. And then years later, and it's going to start getting faster. So then, it'll be like a chimp at some point. Mm-hmm. And then
it'll evolve.
Yeah, and then as soon as it gets to human, boom, it's gone. Then that's it. It's on the road now. Because
how do we know the computer will be like? Because I look at humanity, the design of humanity, as the ultimate machine.
Right.
Because we're able to do just about everything. A computer wouldn't look at us like that. They'd be like, it's not good at doing this, not good at doing that.
Well, it's not even close. It can't even beat me at chess. I mean,
So-
I can't. This bag of mostly water can't even play asteroids for very good.
So when computers design, I wonder, when the AI decides to design its own body, what it would look like.
Yeah,
Can you imagine that?
or it probably wouldn't even do that. It would probably say, you know what, that's not even practical. I'm going to, maybe look like that thing in Interstellar. I'm just going to be this weird box that kind of moves around, or I'm going to be.
Or it would be not one thing but many.
Yeah, or nothing, like the internet or like the ship's computer. It's just everywhere. It's just I don't need to manifest into a person.
My head just hurting, David.
I can be in engineering at the same time that I'm on the bridge. I'm everywhere. It's just controls everything. And it's since we watched Star Trek, we watched this this kind of utopian future. The problem is this is going to happen way before we get to where we could be able to handle it.
That's something that I really hope the new Star Trek show addresses is the lack of robots in Star Trek.
Yes,
because
they'd be everywhere. Yeah, and in reality, by 2380 or whatever, we wouldn't even, it would just be the whole ship would be robots. We wouldn't even be there.
The new Star Trek series doesn't have to be about robots, but at least show that there's some kind of history. Because I know Star Trek's the human adventure,
right?
But just show that there's some kind of like.
Was there something about that Gene said no robots? Was there?
Yeah, no, he didn't want robots because he wanted it to be the human adventure.
And this was not far after the 50s where it was all about big scary robots. I understand that too. But so it's the whole thing kind of scared me. But yet we can't stop it. I mean, this is technology, and we
can't stop the future, man.
We're gonna have to run to catch up, and we're gonna have, and that's what what Bostrom was mentioning was we're gonna have to develop the protection from it before we develop it.
Have you ever read iRobot? Isaac Asimov. You should.
Yeah.
It's a quick read.
Yeah.
It's like 285 pages.
Okay.
But you really should. I mean, they've done, the story's been told before, like Bicentennial Man,
right,
or Data, as a matter of fact, or there was an episode of The Twilight Zone where they did it.
Right.
I think Nimoy's in it, as a matter of fact.
But this is, like I said, this is beyond what we were thinking 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. It's beyond, because like even Data, we wouldn't have it. We wouldn't soon unless we get to a point at that point where it's like, okay, I'm not just going to make a super intelligent computer. I'm going to make something that almost is human and even limited compared to how fast computers can be. But this one's going to have like veins and a respiratory system, and it'll blink and it'll breathe. Just purely for aesthetic reasons, just because I can. I mean, I could make a faster computer than Data easily, but not the one that can walk around and almost fool you into being a human. That might be just something someone tries to do for giggles. But
it's interesting. Like we talked after the show last week. I think we talked about the society as a whole and like Star Trek's future, and how you remember I was talking about there being the singularity where robots can create robots, and then there won't be a need to work anymore. And that's kind of like where Star Trek's future is going.
Right.
I think.
But
so many
implications. The problem is this is going to happen way before that.
Yeah.
I mean, this is literally going to happen in probably 3 or 4 presidents from now.
Well, just
to give you like that kind of a time frame.
You literally, humanity, our society as we know it will change because there will be no need to work anymore. Like, you can work at the arts. You can create art. You could create...
but this supercomputer ain't going to feed you.
No.
It's not...
No, but the robots will grow the crops and they'll control
Yeah, now that'll take hundreds of years just out of just sheer development.
Yeah.
But as far as like, we're going to come up with something in a box, they can probably tell you how to do it, but it's going to take years to implement all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, someone's still going to have to, even if it's robots, someone's going to have to pick the corn.
Is there any factories in the world that are actually 100% machine run?
Yeah, I know there's at least, and I know this was 10 years ago, so there's probably way more than this. But I remember when it's in Australia, it's a Yamaha factory, and it's called, it's got a funny name if anybody's from Melbourne or wherever it's from. It's called like
it's called All Robots Will Kill You.
No, it's like NHHH or whatever. It's like No Humans All. But it's got like a funny name, and it's a Yamaha factory. I don't know what they make. Yamaha makes everything from motorcycles to pianos, so it could be anything.
Yeah.
But it was and this was years ago, so I'm sure there's way more than that. And
They're making the killer robots that can take over the world.
But as soon as one can say, "Hey, I'm going to build a better robot," when the robot says, "I can build a better robot," without even asking anybody,
from a human,
without even asking a person, and go and and just make a better robot, and then hundreds of them. I mean, I know it sounds like Terminator, but it might not be. It's probably going to be more like AI, which I hated that movie. But remember the end, how weird that was?
Yeah.
That's probably closer to what it's going to be.
Where they're like these lanky looking.
Yeah, they're underwater. Or it'll be like the Matrix, but not as dark as the Matrix. I kind of thought about this too. Like maybe it's the Matrix, but we'll be doing it on purpose. Like I'll be plugged. I'm just gonna be plugged into my machine at home, living this great life in World of Warcraft 25. While the computers use me as a battery,
like Ready Player One, kind of.
Yeah,
a little bit.
We're just here for no reason. The computers the robots are doing everything. In fact, they're out discovering things and doing what we used to do, while we lay around in a cube that's like a holodeck,
a la Wall-E.
Yeah, doing whatever, drinking shakes and watching TV. I mean, doing whatever we want to do. It might be great. Yeah. There are people that probably would like doing that, and you can go climb a mountain if you want to.
And that's kind of what I was hinting at with Star Trek is that there'll be the people that will just lie around and drink shakes and watch movies,
right?
But then there'll still be the people that really want to get out there and explore and
possibly, yeah. They'll be like, let's go climb a mountain.
There's always going to be somebody that aspires to more than what they are,
right?
That's the human way. That's the human condition,
right? Maybe you hop on a robot plane and you fly to, and that was another funny analogy. Was like you can't tell a plane, like a robot plane or a robot car. You say, "Hey, car, get me to Darren's house as fast as you can." And it just goes 150 miles an hour. You're like covered in vomit by the time you get there, because it's like you got to go. No, I mean not like as fast as you can. I mean like as fast as you
comfortably.
Yes, you know what I mean. Like it's like that's they get this autism kind of thing where it's like they're single-minded, and it's going to be an interesting. And like I said, I just wanted to kind of touch on it because I know it's kind of a deep subject, but my
brain is melting.
And how Star Trek kind of got it. They kind of skipped over it and just kind of went to, computers are great, except for the Borg, which are not great, but that's probably closer
and
to...
a ship's computer that created a baby and sent it out on its
But
own.
it was friendly. It was nice.
It was nice.
The baby was cool.
Happy computer, happy life.
So, all right, we're all done. Remember, we're trekcast.com. We're trekcast@gmail.com. Patreon, Trekcast Video on YouTube.
We're all over Twitter, Facebook.
Oh, Twitter, Facebook. Just go to trekcast.com. It's
Snap-a-lot.
Snap-a-lot.
Nickelbook. I don't know.
Snapchat, like all the kids are doing. I don't do that stuff.